Hello everyone and welcome to Informatica support videos. I am Akshada and in this video we will be covering how to configure data integration service to run on grid. Agenda of the video is to understand what is a grid, what are the advantages of grid, what are the prerequisites and a quick demo on the configuration. Grid is nothing but the collection of two or more nodes within the domain. So the moment you have more than two nodes in the domain, which is nothing but a multi-node setup, you can create a grid of your own. When you configure a DIS to run on grid, you achieve an active configuration, which is nothing but you configure data integration service to be actively available on all the nodes present in the grid. So on the screen, you can see a screenshot from the grid. So we have created a grid which has two different nodes assigned to it. In our demo, we will also see how to create a grid in the admin console. Now let us see the advantages of the grid. Grid improves the scalability and the performance by distributing jobs to the processes running on multiple nodes within the grid. Another advantage is DIS process will be running independently on both the nodes or on all the nodes which are present in the grid. It also provides the workload balancing within the nodes. Now let us see the prerequisites for data integration service grid configuration. So the very first is you will need to have a grid configured. So you will need to have a multi-node environment wherein you have more than one node in the domain. Second is the license. So to configure data integration service on grid, you need to have the grid for data integration service licensing option available. So to check on that, just click on your license, go to the options tab and see if you see the option with the name grid for data integration service. The next important thing is homogeneous node environment. So you will have to verify that each machine meets the certain set of requirements. By homogeneous, we mean all the machines must use same operating system, all the machines must use same local settings, and all the machines that represents node with the compute role or nodes with both service and compute role must have installations of the native database client softwares. For example, Oracle SQL Server. You must install and configure the same version of the Oracle client on all the nodes. So this homogeneous nature should be achieved. Now let us see a quick demo of how to configure DIS on grid. So as you can see on the screen, I have a domain which has two nodes in it, so which is a multi-node domain. Now let us quickly see how to create a grid first. To create a grid, click on the domain, click on new and click on the grid option. Now give the name that you wish to give. So I'm just going to give it as grid Linux. Choose the nodes which you want to add into the grid. So right now I'm going to add both the nodes to the grid. So it just gives you a message which says that enabling this will enable the grid, and if you run Power Center integration services in the grid, set up the code page to Power Center integration service node. So just click on OK, click on OK. So once you click on OK, you can see a grid created on the left side in the domain navigator. So grid Linux is the one which I have just created. And you can see I have assigned two nodes, node 02 and node N04271139. So these are the two nodes which are added to my grid. Now let us see how to configure DIS on grid. To configure that, we will have to have a DIS up and running first. You can see on the screen, I have DIS_2, which is configured to run on a single node. Now let us change the configuration of this DIS to grid. So to change that, edit the data integration service. Make sure that none of the jobs are running on the DIS because this configuration change would need a restart of the DIS. So assign a grid. It will give you a warning. Changing this would be changing requires the service to be disabled and might need the configuration of the processes. So click on the grid. I'm choosing the grid which we have created. Click on OK. Once you click on OK, a pop-up comes up which requests you to recycle the service. So I'm going to recycle. And once the recycle is complete, you can see the DIS which is available to run on grid. So in case of data integration service, we have two major concepts. So data integration, which is available to run on grid, and second one is highly available data integration service. So highly available data integration service is nothing but where you have primary and backup node configured. And the only difference between these two is in the HA or primary backup configuration, the DIS will be actively available only on one node. It will be in the standby state for the other node. So as you can see on the screen, DIS 10413 is the one which is configured for high availability. So process state only running on a particular node will be running, other one will be on the standby state. So the moment node 2 goes down, the standby process will become running and the process state for node 2 will be marked as failed. So that is the major difference. Whereas in case of data integration service running on grid, you can see both the processes in the running state at the same time on both the nodes. So now we can see that data integration service is up and running on the grid, and in this way we can configure DIS to run on grid. Here are a few reference links to the documentation. You can refer the application service guide. So in this way, we can configure data integration service to run on grid. You can see that DIS is up and running. Attached are the few references. You can refer the application service guide, which has all the details on the configuration, or you can also refer the KB, which has detailed screenshots on this configuration. We would love to hear from you on the feedback of the video. You can tweet us at the given Twitter handle, or you can write an email at supportvideos@informatica.com. Thank you.